Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Welcome if you're new. I'm Stacy, and today for our mixed media piece we are going to be doing a very simple watercolor background and charcoal supplies over the top. I have out my new New York Central Art Supply 100% cotton watercolor paper. I bought a pack 10 5x7 sheets just to try them out. I have them in the hot press and the cold press. I bought both packs from Jerry's Artarama, I believe. And because they were fairly inexpensive paper and I wanted to see how I like them. So we're going to do a little mixed media piece today on the hot press paper. And a little 5x7 piece, something simple. I have out my Qor Watercolors. I have out my Cup O charcoal pencils and my tray of charcoal supplies. Over here we have regular black charcoal, a piece of gray charcoal. This is what's always on my little tray. These square ones are Conti crayons, and I have out the white, gray, and black. And then over here we have vine charcoal. I'm purposely not touching them because they're very messy, and I'm starting with watercolor. And then over here we have some blending tools, which we will get into later on as we go. I taped the paper down on just a piece of clipboard. It's acrylic, I believe, that I've kept forever. It's dinged and dented, and you know, I've used it kind of a lot, but I put it on here so that we'd have a nice surface to work on. I'm going to zoom in so that you guys can better see what I'm doing. And I put a towel down behind. This is a new towel, but I put a towel down behind to help catch the charcoal as we work later on. It is going to make a little bit of a mess, and it tends to poof and cloud up a little bit. I actually meant to get a piece of scrap paper as well. Let's just grab a piece from down here in case we need to tap off the charcoal off the page. You don't want to blow it because it makes a mess. It's like a poof of cloud of just particles and debris. The best thing to do is have a little piece of scrap paper off to the side, and you can tap it on here, and then later you can fold this up and put it in the garbage, so it's not so messy. Yeah, so let's dive in. I have out a couple paintbrushes. I'm going to start with this is my new Velvet Touch Princeton number 10, and then I have out my 1/4 inch Cat's Tongue Faux Squirrel from Zen Art brush. We're going to play with this one today. A little bit of fresh water. I have out my Qor Watercolors because I love them. I'm going to gently wet this in the direction that I want the paint to flow. And I thought we'd just get in a little simple shapes. I will pop the reference photo that I'm using. Sorry about the road noise. I will pop the reference photo that I'm using in the description so that you guys can follow along with it if you wish. It is a Pixabay reference photo, so it is free to use. I'll do that, and then I'm going to go ahead and use my, let's grab out my swatch so you guys can see what colors I'm using. Verde and green, and just kind of dust it in, and it's a little dirty, but that's alright. And get in just a base of color. Doesn't need to be perfect, because we are going to get in here with our charcoal later, well, in a few minutes, and just a little dusting of color to give our charcoal a little more zing, right? A little more pizzazz. I do want to mix a little bit of a better, maybe not better, more earthy. A little more earthy green, ultramarine, and a bit of yellow. This is my nickel yellow. There we go, ultramarine. It's a little better. Maybe just a touch of Payne's Gray to give it that, there we go, that more olive color. And I'm going to come in here and drag it through so that we have some contrast here and there, some dark and light greens in our mountain, and then drop in that feeling of pines, right? Going right up off the page. And this type of brush is great for creating that effect in your skyline. Let's grab a little bit of, clean my brush a little better than that. Dab it. Pick up our green that we put on the page. That's better. And I'm gonna try not to touch the watercolor that's already there. Just kind of skim around it, across the top, and grab that ultramarine. Make sure it's pure. I see that messy green in there. Tricky trickster. Tricky trickster. Dab that off. Ultramarine, and just drop that in the top of the sky. And let it kind of dust down on its own. And if you want, you can encourage it a bit to kind of pull down. There we go. See, and that's a pretty base, right, for our little piece. And we don't want to get too much more crazy than that, do we? I don't think so. Maybe some bits of yellow where our shine should be, where that sun is reflecting off the grass, upper hillside. And coming down this, through there. And this is the Hansa Yellow Light, which is really pretty against all those greens that we have down. Kind of creates a little bit of shine. So we don't want to obliterate the dark, but we do want some interest back here, like that. Good. I think I'd like a little more. Just a little more dark green back here. A little more intensity with that green, because I'm going to go over it with a pretty dark charcoal, right, to create that depth of value. Yeah, I dig that. Alright, let's let this dry completely. We're going to let this dry completely. It'll flatten right back out, and we can clean our paintbrush and set it aside, and just, I'm not going to take a heat tool to it. You can if you want to. If you want to move on quicker, you can totally take a heat tool. I do like to dry up the edges of the piece so that later on I don't accidentally get in there with my charcoals and wet any area, drag any wet stuff into the dry areas. So I did that. A little close up. What we have going on so far. Naturally created some clouds in the sky. It looks like a cloudy sky behind our mountain range, and our trees are going to be right in here, and then this is going to be sweeping hillside with some more trees down here. And that's what we have so far. Once again, let's let this dry completely and come back to it. I'll see you guys in a hot second. Okay guys, we are back and our painting is dry. I'm going to zoom way in. This is just a little piece and I want you to be able to see what I'd be doing. And I'll show you what I'm using as we go. I'm going to start out with I'm going to go ahead and start out with a piece of black chalk. This is a softer chalk, so it's going to go down pretty heavy and stark. Let's make sure our tape's down all the way. And the paper did flatten right back out, which is so nice. There we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and pop in our little bit of shadowy hills, kind of keeping in mind that the land rolls in different ways and line direction matters. So you don't want to create downward strokes when the land rolls this way. Divots and tiny little, just using the side where there's a point for those fine lines. And if you want, you can use a pencil or a harder pastel or charcoal stick for these kinds of, and don't do a pattern, do a little variation in your mark making for these little bumpy shadows. And you don't have to use your finger if you don't want to. You can use any kind of blending tool that you have. I'm just going to tap these down into the page like that, because it is kind of a soft rolling hill kind of look, and I don't want it to feel harsh in any way. Which is, if this is one of your very first charcoal pieces, it can be a little intimidating to do something stark and perfect at first. So a landscape with soft rolling hills, or even you can even do a black and white sunset photo with just white paper and black and gray chalk, or just the black chalk with gradients, and practice that soft rolling look. Like this hillside's kind of rolling this direction a little bit, and then up like that, kind of rolling up and in, and then it's got little bumpily directions in it going this way, and then we've got another divot down here where things are getting, and if you don't like the messiness of chalk, you can wear gloves or hold it in a tissue. Another way to do this, which I can actually show you right now, and you might want to have a tissue or a wet wipe handy to wipe off residuals. Another way to do it is to take your blending stump or Q-tip and rub it on the chalk and use that to draw with. And you can get in there and do some soft gradients, get some really nice shadows going in like that. And where it's dark and stark, you can kind of just get back in there with the chalk and really pop that in for dramatic effect. And then gently, I like to use my finger for that because I don't want it to lift up off the page, and even a gloved finger will work, or a tissue, but I find tissues tend to pick the chalk up more than push it down into the page, but something like that. And then you can use this to do little bit of blending out along that hillside. And get these divots kind of softened as well. And I saw that fall. I saw you, sneaky. And you can use just the tip to really just do just that area. And if it feels like too much chalk on the page, too much loose debris, you can always tap it off. A little line through here. And then you just kind of go up like that. A little bit like that. And this can be a fairly quick drawing. It doesn't need to be hours long and all that. It can be pretty quick. I'm gonna go ahead and... Now there's a roadway in the reference photo that I'm ignoring. I'm not going to put that in. I don't feel like it. There are a couple little buildings up on the top of the hill that we might put in, but I'm going to wait till last to decide if I want to do that or not. Because just because there's buildings doesn't mean you're going to necessarily see the driveway or the roadway. A little bit of dark coming up from down there. And it's a little dark through here. You got either a dusky sky or just the sun is just starting to come up kind of thing going on. So there's glow on top of the land, and then there's real dark darks in the little valleys. Look along here, we've got some little bit of rolling hillside like that. You can come down here and steal from there. Put it up here. Have it come up and over. Like that. It's fun, right? Get the feeling of like, oddly, it feels a little bit like rolling waves on the land, right? A little bit. Let's see, what else? I want this to feel like it's coming up and over that direction. Like that. Okay. And then here as well, it's kind of coming up and over. And this shadow right there. This is pretty dark right here. Like that. And this is not strictly adhering to the reference photo either. I am taking a little bit of artistic license and playing a little bit with that rolling hill feel. Now right through here where our greens are different is a stand of trees growing kind of pointing that way just a bit. They're leaning backwards just a skosh in the reference photo. You don't have to make them do that. I just think it's interesting to make some of them lean back, maybe. Sorry about that noise. The school bus just stopped and the little ones are coming in the building. And yeah, you can hear it pretty plainly. Maybe do a little bit of that, like that. And then our trees are coming right off that page. And I'm just going to get in some wiggly lines to give us our tree type shapes, right? Against that sky. And they do have a bit of green on them, so you don't have to fill in all the spots. There's a bit of green glow, except for down here in this part right here. And then over here, I'm going to put in a few blobular tree shapes. There, maybe a couple here just for interest. Like that. Okay, now I'm going to get in there with my blending stump and kind of soften this a little bit. I don't want to completely obliterate the green once again, but I do want to mute out some of that the harshness of it, and just kind of give it a little wiggle like that. And if it does get to be too much, you can get in here with an eraser after the fact as well, and you know, erase a little bit of it. There's some bushes and stuff happening here. Just do some wiggly little patterns like that. Maybe little stark lines here and there. And then fill this in a bit through here. Like that. And then soften this hill. Like that. Alright, I'm going to tap off my page. And this is why we tap off the page. See? Quite a bit of debris moving around on our page. And you never want to blow on it. It's a bad no-no. Alright, now the edge of our mountain, I'm just going to use the debris on the top of this, and I just want that to be a little heavier right there. That. Okay, now I'm just going to use the debris on the top of this to get in. And if I run out, we can always come down here and snag some. And just put in the distant, misty shape. Drag it around. Make it interesting. It does not have to exactly match the photo. Maybe snag from here, steal from here, put a little bit there, pull that down, push this up, like that. And you can come in if you want a more definitive look. Some of the vine charcoal is soft enough that you can put it down. See how soft it is? And it's super cheap. Vine charcoal is a very inexpensive art medium to buy. You can get a box of it for $1 something at Jerry's, at the art store, wherever you happen to be. Amazon. I do like me some Amazon. I like Jerry's Artorama, Cheap Joe's. Where else do I order from online for art supplies? Jerry's and Cheap Joe's are the two that I usually go to. There's one more. I don't know, it's not popping. So if you guys are thinking it in your head, maybe just drop it in the comments below. If you remember what that third one is, maybe we can put in our couple of little ridges coming down. Kind of merging, and then maybe over here that comes down this way. like that. And then we can get in there with our blending stick and really just soften out that whole area. Kind of give it a distant, you don't want to fill in the green all the way, remember, but you want it to feel distant and misty, a little misty maybe. A little bit dark. Leave a little bit of bright green through here. Grab. And I'm going in from the tape so I don't poke this in underneath that tape accidentally. Sometimes the tape picks up a little bit, and yeah, I can feel it wanting to do that. Just soften our edges like that. How's that? And that looks very distant, doesn't it? Kind of sweep up from this one, maybe make it a little smoky looking back there. Maybe grab a little more. And if it's not soft enough, like if it's not feeling soft enough to you, I'm feeling it, I'm going to get in here with just a bit of white and put it there. And through here, where the sun is maybe touching on morning fog. Right? A little here. On that hillside. Now we can go ahead and give it a little gentle blend like that. Little drag and upward sweep is what I'm doing there. And if it gets too gray, if you don't care for that gray look, it does feel very misty and gray in the reference photo to me, but you can go in with your white and gently drag it over so it looks more lit in some areas, more rolling, just disappearing morning fog from the, and if you've been up in the mountains, you know, you've seen, right, that rolling fog literally looks like you could walk on it sometimes. It's so thick. So don't be afraid to get in there a little bit and create a little misty fog. And that's pretty much it. That's our piece. I mean, you can fuss with it as long as you want. You can get in there and darken your darks and lighten your lights. Maybe make this area, this whole corner is a little more in shadow like that. Rolling up into there. That's more dramatic feeling, right? And then maybe we can put in a few little dark spots here where the ground divots and picks back up. If it feels a little too stark or bright in any one area, I am kind of digging that brightness. But now I'm feeling like I want to put in that little cabin. I'm going to grab the charcoal. I'm going to put a little, just using the corner, a little bit of a roof there, and then a little bit of a roof there. And I'm going to take my blending stump and kind of drag it down so that it looks like a little building with a dark roof. Pull back, blend that together a little bit, and then pull it down. Like that. And if you have pencils, I forgot about mine, you can actually get in there with your pencils too. Just tap off some residuals, and then come in here, really get that building lined up. this little building here. And then that front facing wall, a little white on it, like that. And maybe lighten this side a little bit. And get back in there with our little white piece of chalk and put in that fog that kind of got mucked up because of the chunky chalk. And there we go, we have two little buildings in there. Neat, right? And you don't have to put the buildings in if you don't want to. Like I said, it's not necessary. Maybe drag a little shadow down so they look like they're resting on their hillside and not floating in space. Like that. There we go. I'm kind of digging this. What do you guys think? Let's take off our tape because that's always like one of the best parts, right? We'll zoom out. You guys can see the table a little bit. We'll go ahead and peel off our tape. Oops, got a little bit of blue there, but that's okay. You can always fix it with a little bit of pencil, because that's watercolor. You can try and lift it by wetting it a little bit. Let's set that stuff aside. Grab our brush. Maybe. Wet that spot pretty good. That. Try and blot it. No dice. That's alright. Fine. Kneaded eraser, we'll get rid of this little bit of residual stuff up here. I'm going to spin this way so that I can hold it down. Maybe the other eraser will work better. There we go. Looks a little better. Get rid of that. There is our piece. What do you guys think? A little bit of white charcoal pencil. Get rid of that a little bit. Oh yeah, I kind of dig this. It's a fun experiment with charcoal and watercolor. Creates a really nice effect, I think. I don't mind the light glowing in on my reflective surface, but here's a little close-up of all the different textures. And you could play with this for a really long time and get some real depth and dimension rolling in there if you really wanted to. I like this. I think it turned out really nice. Let me know what you think in the comments below if you like this kind of video. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!